Welcome to Up Your Stack podcast. I'm Noah Berk, the host of your show. I'm also the co-founder of OBO and Elite HubSpot Solutions Partner. Every week, we talk to some of our favorite HubSpot app partners who've either built their apps on HubSpot or have integrated with HubSpot to help you level up your HubSpot tech stack. And today, I'm super excited to have our guest, Kris, who's with a fantastic organization, Sendoso. Did I say that correctly, by the way?
Yeah, you
nailed it on the first time. Okay, great. Kris, thank you so much for being here today. It's great to have you. I'd love to just dive right in. For all the people out there who don't know what you do, describe Sendoso to us.
Yeah. So we are a direct mail and gifting platform. And ultimately, we help sales teams, marketing teams, customer success teams build better engagement and drive results by way of sending prospects gifts. Could be a bottle of wine, could be swag, could be postcard, could be a handwritten note. There's infinite things that you can send out, and you can send it out directly through HubSpot, either through automations or by clicking and sending one at a time. And so we handle all of the heavy lifting behind the scenes, whether that's sourcing, the warehousing, the kitting of boxes, the writing of notes, the shipping, and then it all tracks back into HubSpot so you can look at all the results of everything that you're doing.
And how did this come about in the first place? Like, why all of a sudden I need to build an app that's going to help me ship out direct mail and products and gifts to people?
Yeah. So about 8 years ago, I was in sales myself, spent about a decade in software sales. And I found myself doing a lot of this manually. I'd be on a call and hear a dog bark, and I'd go quickly try to Amazon a dog toy to my house and then send it out. Or I'd talk to a prospect and they were talking about tequila that they loved. And so I'd try to go find some website that I could send tequila. And it was expense reports, it was packing boxes, it was writing notes. I felt like a couple hours of my day was running a mailroom at the time. And so I dreamed up a solution that kind of automated all that for me, especially the hard part, which was the sourcing, the packing boxes, the shipping, and wanted to integrate that into my tech stack so that I didn't have to stop what I was doing in my workflows. So you can jump off a call and write with inside of HubSpot, click and send something, or even set up an automation if you wanted to do that too.
There's a theme, and I think all the listeners who've listened to these other podcasts up until now, everyone is solving something for themselves.
Yeah.
And Kris, that's exactly what you did, is you solved it for yourself.
Yeah, biggest pain that you find yourself is things that you're doing in your day-to-day. And if you have that pain and you talk to others and they have that pain, then that's something that you can get passionate and get behind to build.
And who do you notice is the majority of your customers? Like, if I had to describe your ideal customer profile, is it the head of marketing, the head of sales, the head of RevOps? Like, who out there is saying, wow, we need this service and solution?
Yeah, over the last 7 years since launching, we've seen about 100,000 users on the platform, or 250 million in spend. So quite a bit of usage, but it's typically split up. So typically marketing will come in and have some marketing initiatives where they want to drive an incentive if you attend a webinar and they want to automate that and send a gift there, or they want to set up some ABM program and send out some gifts for the ABM program, or they want to enable their SDRs or the AEs or the account managers to have their own budget and be able to click and send based on personal interactions. And so what we end up seeing is marketing will have their own use cases and enable it, and sales reps will each have their own licenses to be able to log in and send stuff on their own too.
Kris, I'm sure there's a lot, you probably have a lot of case studies, like what has been the impact of sending these gifts? In your own experience, heck, you were running around sending bottles of tequila back in the day. What was the impact on your close rates? What's the impact on client relationships? What are your clients seeing?
Yeah, we have a ton of cases on the website. So if you want to see exact details, you can go to sendoso.com. But the way that I look at it is our customers are looking at solving specific problems. And it could be, hey, our demo show rate is only 60%. How are we going to get that up? And hey, maybe we send a lunch e-gift the morning of a meeting, and then we can get that from 60 to 80%. Or, hey, we're seeing our sequences and it's taking 42 days to get a meeting booked. Let's see if we can get that in 30 days. Or so really what we try to do is hone in on specific areas of revenue leakage or problematic metrics for our customers, and then say, hey, here's how you can solve this by sending a direct mail or gift, and then coach them and consult them to how they can set that up and get that going.
So it's really easy to measure in that particular case what the ROI is. To your point, if you had a 50%, let's say, attendance rate, and you can get that to 75%, you're able to calculate that revenue. In your experience, is that how most clients justify the spend here?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, that's how people are justifying is they're trying to tag it to the ability track it against deals that are going through the system so they can see the results and run the reports there. There is some focus if you're an AE and you're saying, hey, I want to send this as a thank you following up on a demo. That's a little bit indirect ROI to say, okay, we're closing deals 20% faster because of this one gift. I think that's a little bit more for companies that really care about the buyer experience, that are trying to differentiate how they build rapport with clients, that are trying to prove that they can be the best service and partner. And I think gifting can play into that really well. It's just not as perfect of a black and white as a webinar attendee rate improvement or a demo show rate or a top of funnel meeting maker that's driving inbound. But I think that goes back to organizations that really believe in the buyer journey or
Mm-hmm.
really believe in the customer journey post sales too, and sending customer welcome kits, maybe a birthday gift if it's your customer's birthday. And it really boils down to, I think the smartest, most successful people realize that people buy from people. And how do you build better
Yes.
relationships with people?
I 100% agree. People buy from people. And if
Yeah.
you're sending them something really thoughtful, then I think it would just relate more easily. And so, what are some of the key reasons for your traction, your growth? Like, how did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple different things that contributed to our success over the last 7, 8 years. One was the what I'm calling like saturation, or it's easier than ever to send out like a gazillion emails. And I think a decade
Yes.
ago, you sent out 100 emails and got like 90 replies, but that's diminished. And so salespeople, marketers, they have to diversify and look to other channels to grab the attention of those prospects and customers. And direct mail gifting is a great use case for that. So that was, I think, one of the big areas. Two, account-based marketing took off and you really decided to go after a targeted list of accounts with more higher value engagements. And so that's where we jumped in and really rode the ABM wave. And then I think addition to that, we really invested in our integrations and our partners early on. And so we rode the coattails of HubSpot and everyone else having success because you could use us in the tools you already use. And so we were like right front and center.
Now, how did gifting change during COVID? What did you see? What was it like before and what was it after or during? Technically still after, but
Yeah, yeah.
what was that like?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a moment because direct mail gifting was sent to people's offices for the most part, and everyone had these office addresses. We woke up one day and said, what are we going to do? And we realized that we quickly built within one day this address confirmation feature that said, hey, Noah, you might not be at your office. You want to confirm your address for what I'm going to send you. And so that solved that problem overnight. It also created this kind of layer of security and compliance, which a lot of companies liked. And then meanwhile, there was a lot of budget that was spent on in-person events, that was
Yes.
spent on other channels that were like instantly not available. And so you had to augment that with other channels that were still available. And that's where we came in. And so we saw a huge surge during COVID and then continued to ride that wave.
Wow. Yeah, I can imagine that. We were talking to one of the shows earlier, an organization who specialized in webinars.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the same thing
Yeah,
that all these people were in person events. The next thing, there are no more in
and no
person
more.
and they 10x in a short
Mhm.
period of time. So there's obviously a lot of different companies out there who can send gifts, send
Mhm.
direct mail, send gifts. What differentiates you in the market versus some of these other players?
Yeah, I'm going to take a stab at it a couple of different. One is I think our integrations are a lot better. We have we focused really on that since day one. Could be better data in, data out. Could be better UI within these platforms, better automation. So I think integrations is key, especially for those teams that maybe are less resourced, do more with less kind of
Mhm.
mindset. And so you want to set up these automations. We're really keen on helping companies automate what they can. Faster SLAs. So we operate a lot of our own facilities so we can have better SLAs. And that is always helpful.
Mhm.
We can get things sourced and shipped and packaged and delivered faster. We have this huge data set. So we've integrated this data set into our AI engine. And so we have a really robust way to suggest the right gift based on the hundreds of millions of dollars being spent and the hundreds of thousands of interactions that occur monthly on our platform. And so big data is a big play for us against a lot of the competitors. And we invented the space, so we know what works better than anyone else too.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I've known of you for you guys almost since the day you were born
Yeah.
because it's such an interesting. And you would think, how could someone not have done this before? Integrate with a HubSpot, for example, and be
Mhm.
able to simply pull that information in and be able to send a gift with a not having to go to Amazon, download it, box it up yourself and do the whole thing. Now, why integrate with HubSpot? Like, and how did that work? And what can you do with this integration now?
I think a couple of different areas. Marketing automation has been a huge trend for decades. And so you don't want to go from a very automated mindset to then being like, oh, now I have to use this stupid direct mail software. So we wanted it to be smart. We wanted you to be able to automate things just like you did in your email marketing automation. We wanted you to take this offline channel that was dumb, which you had to pack boxes, maybe click on links to see if things were delivered, track through spreadsheets, and say, let's use the automation mindset. And so that was one area where someone fills out a form, let's send them this. Someone attends a webinar and let's send them this. And so there's a lot of different ways you can automate. So that was critical to the integration in HubSpot. Two, if you're a seller and you're living inside of HubSpot, you don't want to remember to go to another application, click open another tab. God forbid you have 70 tabs open like some people do, but you can just be on that contact record inside of HubSpot, and there's just a little Sendoso button that you can click and send right from there, and it tracks in and logs the event of the send, so you can live in the same tool that you're living in. Those are the key areas. The reporting and tracking back in, so you can run reports on the efficacy, is also pretty critical. And then what makes a better together store? When we go to the Inbound conference later this year, we want to talk to people and tell them how they can use their tech stack better together versus separately. And that better together story then also allows us to drift off the success of HubSpot, have a more co-marketing, co-selling relationship that really 1 + 1 = 10 instead of just two separate companies selling to the same type of buyer.
Kris, how do people find out about you guys? Is it word of mouth? Do they find you in the HubSpot app directory? How do you get the word out?
HubSpot app directory has been huge for us, especially because HubSpot named us one of the essential apps for marketers. And so we got a lot of highlighted being featured there. We see a lot of customers use us, switch companies, and then sign up for us right as they get to their new company. We also see some recipients. You get a gift you're a VP of marketing and just received a gift. You figured out that it was powered by Sendoso. You're like, wow, why am I not doing this in my marketing efforts? So we have this kind of virality from the recipient angle. And then I think the last is just through our own marketing automation, our own field marketing, our own outbound sales, all the traditional channels we're executing on.
And I think the phrase is eat your own dog food. Is that it?
Like
Maybe
drink
I
your own
missed it.
champagne is a better
Drink your own
phrase.
champagne.
Yeah, I don't like eating dog food.
I don't like eating. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
I knew it was somewhere around there. Drink your own champagne. I'm assuming that's part of your sales motion.
1,000%. It's a part of everything we do. And it's one of the ways that we've gotten so successful over the years is we're masters of what we do. And then we also love touting and sharing what we do too. So we'll run webinars on how Sendoso uses Sendoso and how different teams use Sendoso. And it's been a really effective strategy since the general concept of gifting in direct mail is comprehensible, but it's the strategy and execution. It's how do I integrate this into other HubSpot campaigns I'm doing? How do I enable my sellers? What should I send? All those things we can help answer. And so there's a bit of a education since this isn't something that some people haven't been doing before.
I think a lot of our listeners, to be frank, a lot of them haven't done this.
Yeah.
It's not the first thing they think of. To your point, you mentioned earlier, a lot of people have been doing email marketing, and now text messaging is part of the email marketing is another piece right there. But the idea of sending something physical, it's like, why would you do that? That's back in the day. Who would send a physical mail? But it's funny, if you look at it, no one gets mail anymore.
Exactly.
So it's a great thing to send out because they get it. Wow, I haven't seen mail in the mailbox in years. And lo and behold, there's a gift for me.
Exactly.
Are you noticing that's been a key driver for the success of when people adopt Sendoso?
100%. Breaking through the noise is what all marketing and sales teams want to do to grab the attention of prospects or keep the attention of customers. And so if we can help by zigging while others are zagging and appear on your doorstep or on your desk, that's also critical. And then we also do have a really interesting digital component too, where you can use our platform to send like a digital e-gift for a lunch or a coffee or an experience. And those can also be nice value adds to your advertising campaigns, to your emails, to a webinar invite, where you still feel that psychological feeling of reciprocity and you're thankful that this person said, hey, if you want to join us for this webinar, it's at noon. Here's a $25 DoorDash card. There's something to that in terms of human nature that still breaks through, even if it's attached to an email. We see significantly higher email open and click rates because of that.
Kris, I know you're one of the first people really doing what you do in the industry with the integrations and technology component, but how are you staying differentiated from the competition? What are you doing that's different than them?
Yeah, the biggest thing right now, and it's a hot topic, but we jumped on this years ago, is AI. And I
Mm.
think the power of AI is really based on all the data that you have. And so for us, having this huge market share, and I'd say 80, 90% of the data that's been sent through the last 8 years, because some of these upstarts are only a few years old, it gives us this crazy advantage on helping our customers suggest the right gift with writing the right message using AI, finding the right person, the right timing, even the right delivery channel. And so AI has been a critical area that we can use our data as a big moat for us. We also have a huge marketplace. We have the most things that you could ever want to send with the most personalization. And then because of all that and because of our volume, we have great volume discounts like the Costco model too. So we
Uh,
can send the best thing, we can do it at the best price, we can do it at the best speed. And because there's so much of this offline logistics and kind of infrastructure, it's hard to catch up to us because of just all of the years we put in. It's not like you can just throw more engineers at it in a garage and code faster.
what is the most popular gift people send?
Yeah, so I think there's, I break it down in kind of four areas. So
Okay.
overall, Yeti mugs, we've probably seen tens of millions of dollars spent through our platform on Yeti mugs. People just love them.
I have 6 of them, I think, at this point, 7.
Yeah.
They
So
just keep coming to me.
Yeti mugs are great. Socks do incredibly well. People love getting socks. Booze is popular. People love getting booze when they can. And then I'd say the fourth one is this catch all for super personalized items. So we have this really unique Amazon integration where we can suggest something like, hey, I know Kris is lives in the Bay Area, likes the Warriors and plays golf. Maybe I'll send him some Golden State Warriors golf balls. And we can piggyback on Amazon's 500 million SKUs, but send it to our warehouse first, unbox it, add a handwritten note, and then ship it off. So the recipient gets a super personalized experience. It's all tracked through HubSpot, so you have all the tracking, and that is a good catch-all for a personalized gift, which works really well.
Kris, that must have been your dream 8 years ago, that you would be able to just access all 5
I know.
million SKUs from Amazon.
Yeah.
Have it come there. I think that was like the culmination of probably your dreams right there when you ended up being
Oh,
able
it
to
was
roll
amazing
out
to
that
see that
feature.
play and the wow factor we get. All the cool stories we hear from our customers, like sales rep saying, "Hey, it's been 6 months. I can't break into this account. I sent them like a baby onesie, and I have a meeting, and I booked the deal." So there's just some really cool stories that make me feel good.
Of course, if you're listening to this podcast, you can't see behind Kris's background, but he has a whole bunch of plants, and I highly respect that. You
Yeah,
know, anything about me, I'm into plants as well. So I
totally.
was assuming you're going to say plants, but then I also remember most people kill plants.
We have a really cool
And
plant send that it comes in this like watering like container that you water once.
self-watering
Yeah,
container,
it's like once a month you water it. So it's super hard to kill.
hydroponic
Yeah.
indoor plants, as is sometimes referred to as hydroculture. I don't want to go deep into my passion of plants as a hobby. One of them's right behind me there.
Love
It's,
the
it's a
snake
water
plant.
plant.
Yeah.
Yes, and it has these little pebbles in there. So it's not there's not actually any soil in that plant. And so you're able to water. Of course, we're not here today to talk about horticulture, but as you can tell, both of us have a passion for this. Obviously, you've been one of the top featured apps in the HubSpot, but how do you suppose you're filling the gaps for HubSpot ecosystem? Is it because it's just another mechanism for people to be able to send? Walk me through how you're filling those gaps.
Yeah, I think HubSpot's done a great job of trying to build out this ecosystem to figure out ways that there's lacking capabilities in their system, but they know their customers need to use these tools. And so we're a perfect example of customers that are using HubSpot that might be manually sending out gifts themselves, might be manually doing what I was talking about, which is like packing some boxes to get a prospect's or customer's attention. And so we can automate that. And I think HubSpot is all about that. We also have a huge AI component. I know HubSpot is really AI focused right now. So they really like this data first AI approach. And then at the end of the day, HubSpot was built for marketers, built for sales teams, and so are we. So there is a natural synergy of a tool that you can't do inside of HubSpot without us.
You've alluded to AI a little bit here, and some of your, it sounds like your recommendation engines in there. It sounds like, what's the future roadmap of Sendoso, and how is AI going to play a part in it? What's coming down the pipe?
Yeah, so I'd say the one nice thing is we're living in the future already in terms of really robust, what we call a smart send feature that sends the right gift. I think that's only going to get smarter as we continue to layer on more and more interesting data, more intent data. We continue to invest in how the writing of the messages through AI gets better and better. So I think that's one of the cool things about AI is you can continue to train it to get smarter and smarter. And we have a really interesting feedback loop because we're connected into HubSpot. We can see when you sent this and it got delivered, did that trigger a deal to get created or a deal to get closed or a meeting to happen? And so we have a really interesting feedback loop there. Furthermore, I think we can continue to innovate on the right delivery channel, whether this is going to go to someone's home or office and that data set there. It'll be interesting to see as we continue to partner with Clearbit and other data providers now that Clearbit is owned by HubSpot, as we bring that data into our platform to enrich mailing addresses or other data sets. So I'm just really bullish on this recommendation engine that drives more productivity for reps because they have to send, and then also just the automations too.
And Kris, how easy is it to get started with this?
Super easy. You can get started sending today and get signed up. We also have a campaign services team that if you want a more lengthy suggestion and consultation around what you should do, we help with that. We have a customer success team that can help with onboarding if you want that, or you can onboard yourself. But yeah, Sendoso.com and sign up.
Kris, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Tell me about one of your fun stories, a customer story that maybe didn't go exactly right, because I'm sure you have plenty of those.
Yeah, I can tell a story where I was on the receiving end of a customer that didn't go right. I remember this was a couple years ago, and I won't say the company name because I don't want to shame them. But
that's fair. You don't have to say the company name.
I got prospected into 5 times after each time saying, I'm already a customer, I'm already a customer, I'm already a customer. And I think that just goes back to show if you have bad data, you can create really bad customer experiences. And I was just like, I still remember that. I still remember that customer. I'm like, come on. If you're prospecting, do your homework first.
Yeah, exactly. And it sounds like if you're prospecting, also make sure you use the Sendoso recommendation app so you don't send the wrong gift.
Yeah, exactly.
For example, I sent a gift because they have kids. Oh, they do not have children. They do not need the baby stuff. No, that's awesome. What suggestions do you have for individuals who may be creating apps either on HubSpot or are looking to integrate with HubSpot these days?
Yeah, I would say connect with the partner team. They have an amazing partner team, so you can focus on how you can do co-marketing, co-selling, build a lot of strong agency relationships. That's a really good channel to educate the masses and have an exponential effect. Go to inbound, make as many friends as you want at inbound. I think that's kind of a critical component to that as well.
Awesome. Kris, this is fantastic. Anything I didn't ask you'd like to share?
No, I love connecting with other people. If people want to connect with me directly, go to LinkedIn, search for me, add me, or email me, Kris@Sendoso.com.
Kris, thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome to have you here today. If you haven't checked out Sendoso, please do. If you're interested to learn more about Kris and Sendoso, feel free to check out the website. Again, I'll let you say it, Kris, the website domain.
Yeah, it's Sendoso.com, Sendoso.com. Or check us out in the HubSpot App Exchange or the App Store.
Awesome. If you're interested in leveling up your HubSpot, also feel free to reach out to OBO. You can find me on LinkedIn, Noah Berk. You can also visit our website, www.theobogroup.com. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. And see you again soon.